What's going on, everybody? Troy Rawlings here. Troy Rawlings live, and this is the segment I like to call Meet the. And it's been a minute. You know, I've been doing the Meet the interview for years now. I don't date these. It's 2025 though. And this young lady, I've been talking to her for a little while. We're looking to do some events in the North Carolina, South Carolina area. But if you see her T-shirt, it says BrunchNBlaze, and that's her brand, BrunchNBlaze. And she's gonna talk about BrunchNBlaze, but she is Southern girl. Southern
girl. Yeah.
Where you originally from, Cheryl?
Wilson, North Carolina, but I can go even deeper. Spring Hope, North Carolina. So a lot of times you try to get so close to the city, and then you were like, Wilson, you need something else. So
no. I said, I was about to say where. Well, this is Cheryl. She goes by Shirlfriend, but y'all make some noise. Okay. So she goes by Shirlfriend, like girlfriend. But you said Wilson, North Carolina, because I'm sure some people who are watching this know exactly where Wilson is if they're not even there, living in Wilson. But I said, what is the closest major city that is close to, so people would?
Raleigh.
So you're close to Raleigh. How close is Raleigh?
North Carolina, 30 minutes.
Oh,
30 drive.
Yeah. So about half an hour from Raleigh, which ain't nothing, but people walk 30. People can walk that in 2 hours.
It's up the road, around the corner.
Yeah, exactly. Neighbors, a couple miles away. So Cheryl, we're gonna jump around a little bit. I like to Tarantino these interviews. You're from Wilson, North Carolina. You're a corporate chick though. You've been working corporate for some years.
Yeah, I've been in the corporate world for about 30 years, and at some point I decided to have enough, and they had enough with me too. So I can do the journey I'm supposed to be on, this one. So yeah, I got off the corporate plantation. And no, sir, I was never going back. I was never going back. No,
all of Southern. I was never going back. Who's that?
Never.
So when did you get into the wonderful world of herb? Well, when did you first experience herb and said, this is something? This is...
okay, so...
I don't know if you were bonged or what the scenario was when you first had some herb, and you down south, so I know. Might have been Junior up by the shack.
Yeah, it's funny for me. I was 17, and I started to doing the things we do as grown folk, and it was extremely painful.
Oh.
Extremely painful. Yes. Well, why don't you smoke on this? Okay. That's fine.
Coughing right away.
It was no longer painful. No, it was actually a very relaxing experience. That's my first experience with the sticky icky. Let me get some of this good stuff, and you get some of this good stuff. Yeah, so we can get it going.
Okay. That's what you're talking about. Somebody gave you some herb to relax.
Yeah.
Relax your mind, let your body free.
That's right. Let go. And that's what it did. I was like, wow. So there was a period of time during my teenage years where that was the part of the lovemaking experience. Here you go. Now I take that back. It's puff minus the past. I keep it for me. I've got some you can roll up, but you got to do it yourself because this one is mine. I'm smoking this one.
You don't like somebody else's spit on your herb.
No, it's good. You hold yours, I hold mine. And we can still love each other. And we share the moment. We ain't got to share the puff. We good. So back then, that's how it was. That's how I got started. And then I stopped for a period of time because I broke up with this dude. Then I started again in college. That was for the same reasons. I wanted to be comfortable and relaxed for the experience. Yeah.
So that's interesting. And that's something. I think you're the first person, not saying that you're the first person that's how they experience, because most people got turned on to weed from a party and experience with where they had to relax. So that makes sense. But you're saying specifically it became your ultimate aphrodisiac when you were getting ready for lovemaking, getting ready for intimacy. You're like, you know what? This was introduced to me then, and it helped relax me. And but is that something now that's an ongoing thing where it's like, oh, let me set the mood. This is just my natural way of setting the mood. Is that now?
I just need to change it or modify it. It's working quite fine for itself. The other thing, I've got a rod in my bag. And people trying to throw all kinds of medications. I say, you know what? I just roll it up. Don't worry about it. And
okay, the rod in your back, where did that come from? You had an accident or?
When I turned 18, I was trying to enter the military. I'm getting away from Wilson. I'm tired of the country. I'm getting out and see the world. Going to the Army. They wouldn't take me because I had something called scoliosis.
Scoliosis.
And I didn't know.
Which
So,
a lot of us have in the different levels of it.
well, mine was so advanced, my lungs would have collapsed if I continued to live that way. So in order to save my life, my parents, I had a 24-hour surgery. Back then, it was almost experimental putting a rod in your back. Now they've got data where it's like, oh, we may should have done more research before because they don't put those in your back anymore, not that way. It's no longer a scheduled procedure for people to do. They have other things they do to modify that. But I wasn't there for that technology. So they put a rod on my back. And
your spine, literally, your spine is straight.
It took some of the cartilage from my tailbone. So I can't swim straight. I got lollywoods, so I can't swim straight. I got to swim either on my back. Anyway, it was what I needed to do to live. So I can't complain about that. Now, would I have done something different now? Yeah, we probably wouldn't have had the rod down my back. But that stopped me from attending school. So I left UNC Chapel Hill, began my journey in corporate America at a bank in Wilson. A with too many operation centers, so it's at one place. I'm not calling out the company. Had experiences there. I was like, wow, this is really for real? The guy had a rope on the back of his door.
Like a noose?
A noose, yeah, saying that, there was a time where we didn't have problems like this. We would do that right there. I don't think you can say that. I don't think that's nice. I was young and I didn't have a lot of comeback. I just said, that's not nice. You're not being nice. You can't talk about putting a noose on somebody and you work for corporate America. Bye. Yeah. I think every place I've visited, because I see these as visits. I stay long enough. Yeah, it's visits. I'm visiting the company. There's no way that I'm going to continue to live after I realize they got some discriminatory practices. I can't stand around for it. If I were to go back to it now, I would be in trouble. Trouble.
Because your mind has changed.
Yeah, trouble. I don't have the ability to pretend it's there. I don't have the ability to ignore it. I have to speak to it. And there are people that don't like you speaking to it. They want you to just take it and be humble. You got a job.
Yeah, a tall black sister that looks, they're trying to figure you out when they see you. They're like, tall and you're Southern and you're speaking your mind. And yeah, that can be a whole bunch of problems.
Problematic for them.
So you went from using herb as an aphrodisiac to a medication.
My back.
So now, how long ago? When did you realize that it helped with that, or you just knew it would help with relax with anything? But when did you realize the herb helped with your back?
After I had the surgery, it took me some time to get back to grown folk living. I guess that's a good way of saying it. So, nothing getting down with the get down, because I was still on my back. So going through that experience, the pain, going back through therapy, because I learned how to do things all over again. So I wasn't thinking about any of that kind of stuff. It took me a minute to get back to, oh yeah, you have one of those and I would not mind using it. Thank you for having it.
She's talking about the sexual activities, y'all.
Yes,
y'all don't know what she's talking about. Because how long was so it was a 24-hour surgery. How long was the rehab? 2
years. So I left Carolina. I left UNC Chapel Hill. So I wasn't like I was thinking about, you at that point in your life, you trying to figure out how to get around.
How old were you at this
18.
time? 18. Wow.
Mm-hmm. So 2 years I was been partying, I was getting healthy, Get better.
Did you realize that any other time in your life where you might have been having issues, you thought it might have been asthma, or anything did you realize you were having trouble breathing or anything like that?
No, I wasn't experiencing anything, no more than some pains in my back. And I would just, as a kid, you're not
they
really
say growing pains. Oh girl, that's just growing pains.
Oh, you're all right. Ain't nothing wrong with you.
You're sprouting. You're tall.
You're growing up too fast, because I was always the tallest girl in every classroom. Oh my God, it was so horrible. I heard so many stories. The stork, the giraffe. I hated the giraffe because the giraffe is yellow. You know what I mean? They do that. They paint So I was like, God. Or then the fact that I'm light skinned, lemon head. I like lemon heads. Those are yummy. Anyway, lemon head. And then at some point they started, little baby was like, man. I'm like, no, you were mean to me all this time. Now you want to date? If you don't
But now, were you developed, or were you like because a lot of girls develop later? Did you have breasts and hips and
get there to like middle school? But there were some that were budding in elementary. No, there were some butters in elementary school. Sure.
No. I get it. But so by high school, by the time you were younger, but by the time you're in high school, everybody's like,
yeah, and I was like, no, I remember. You don't forget. You know what I mean?
You were mean to me. Yeah. Oh, guys go through that all the time because women are so far advanced. Girls are running around with Barbie dolls and House and Ken at 4.
Yeah.
So guys are like, by the time we 12, we getting into sports and 13, we see, hey, 13, 14-year-old Cheryl. Hey, Cheryl. Hi, Troy. Like, why are you talking like that? Because you used to pull my hair and push me in the dirt. Remember that? When you did that? I didn't know.
Yeah. Do you know why y'all do that though? You like them.
Yeah, but we don't. It's also because when we because we don't want girls because they got out of saying this, but it's true. They got out of saying it because we don't want you to think that every time a guy likes you, he's hitting you because you abuse later on. What it is that when boys like other boys, when they like their buddy, they wrestle with their buddy. So all of a sudden you see this girl, no one explaining that these feelings you have, you like her, you see her, you're like, yeah, I like her too. And you push her down and you run so she can chase you. And she was like, what are you doing in my dress?
Exactly.
What are you doing? But girls are already taught romance by that age. They got Barbie and Ken. You know what I'm saying? So
we do have the toys, but if you pay attention, the boys got the toys for what? G.I. Joe,
balls, trucks, and wrestling.
Yeah,
we got wrestling men.
Stuff.
The wrestling men got little draws on, but they wrestling.
Mm-hmm. I get it.
Then you'll see the wrestling men like, man, I love you too, Hulk Hogan.
Now it's time to fight. It's either you're fighting, you're
Macho
shooting.
Man wants to kiss the Hogan. We ain't gonna do that.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, yeah, we. But so, I would sit down with the little girls, and my favorite show was Three's Company. Come on, knock on my door. So we would take the Barbies, and I'd be Jack. And that's, come on, Jack. I was like, yeah, okay, that's what we're doing. Oh, that's why I got advanced. I'm like, oh. The boys like, yo, let's play basketball. I was like, I gotta finish being Jack first.
Mm-hmm. This Jack thing is really fun.
Jack thing is really fun.
Y'all doing? Yeah. Yeah, but no, I think that cannabis is looked at as this very negative thing, and it actually gives way to what you're talking about. Creativity is there. There's some creativity. It gives way to solving for the pains, and also just a major, major, major relaxer. I can't tell you. I will come in from the day, light up, zoom, just like that. Because I'm a very high energy chick. I don't know how not to be. Mm-hmm.
High energy, ton of questions, and I can tell immediately when she's had her herb, because she's like, "Yeah, you know what I was thinking." I was like, so when did you realize? When did you start getting to? Because I know, of course, you tell people why you do it. So, girl, it's helped me with this. What? You don't have pain when you say, I have a hard time getting into intimacy too, girl. I got a rod in my back. Oh my God, I had a back surgery too. So when did you realize and get into the advocacy side of that?
Oh, that happened during COVID. That was unintentional. We were working from home. For those that were able to still, work through the COVID experience, we were working from home. And I think I smoked more herb during this period. I still say herb shit. Anyway.
I don't know what kind of cannabis. There's so many different strains and stuff. I don't know what it's because some people do. What did they say? Sativa, and what's the other one?
I do sativa.
So what's the difference? What are the? Well, we'll get into that.
Okay.
But
well, just
tell
understand.
Me more about the COVID experience.
I got you. What it was I was able to complete my work. I was able to still do the work. That's what you call get paid off the desk, out of your desk, where I'm doing advocacy. I was the chair for AERG. And so all these little places put me in space to be with other people because I'm doing the events for the company to still keep the morale, to still have the energy to come back and do your work, even though you're doing it from home. And everybody was really despondent around this time. George Floyd had been murdered. There's a lot of different types of energies you're feeling. Some people thought, had he done something different, he'll be alive. Some people thought it was his fault. So I'm on these calls, and I said, we need something where we're actually doing more for great positive mental energy. So I start hosting these events, and that put me out in the world. And I found, again, cannabis a different way. I found cannabis in Canada. There were people in Japan. There were people in Israel. There's people in Egypt. There was one girl. They were just all over the country. And
in
I'm
your
like,
own sections, in your own
right.
community. Where can I get some? Oh,
yeah, come this way. But the thing is, we thought we were going to map it out. Oh, honey, we had a plan. We were going to map out all the places you go in different cities so you don't have to worry about popo. Hey, come this way. So it takes that question out when you're visiting a city and you don't know where to score, where to get it.
And all over the world at that.
Yes, I was excited, like, yeah, this is amazing. So it became more about the advocacy piece than me just, smoking it and relaxing. It was like, I think that there are a lot more people that could be impacted, that could get use from this. And I think it's a derogatory thing that our government is set up to keep people who just had no violent crimes, just a little bit of a sticky icky, and they're in prison. There should be nobody in prison behind the sticky icky. That don't make any sense. So
because the majority of people that were getting locked up behind it was African Americans.
Yeah, black people. Yeah.
So black people.
To me, that's what it angered me. It was like I felt like all of a sudden, I'm normally happy-go-lucky person, just all about positive spirit. It's very difficult to maintain that when you become angry with corporations. So I thought I need to do something. So I sat with my girlfriends to get the BrunchNBlaze. I sat with my girlfriends and I was like thinking, what can we do to advocate? Because we were talking about sticky icky, but it went to other topics. What can we do to advocate? And we're naming our names because we were at a brunch during that time. I said, Blaze and Brunch. Blaze and Brunch. And it's like, no. Brunch and Blaze. You eat up and then smoke up. Okay. And that was something I wanted to do, to actually start doing a podcast and get people, create awareness for people. I think there are some people in certain places that still look at like it's the devil's cabbage. Oh, I'm going to hell. Yeah.
That is definitely definitely Southern Bible Belt term, because I ain't never, you out there with that devil's cabbage, little lady, give me a piece of it.
Then they go back and smoke.
Give me that from you. Get out of here.
Yeah, I actually smoked with my daughter. We were on one of the podcasts from Corey in Canada. And the intent of the conversation was really about how can you deal with your children? How do you manage what you do with your children? I was like, you should be honest. You should be transparent. I said, because they're smelling it.
Let me tell you something. Back in the day, I just, I did my new comedy special, 50. And I talk about, I couldn't be in the room with my mother and my brother and my father, because my brother's only 18 years younger than my parents. So when they were together in the room and I smelled there was reefer back then. It had a wonderful smell. But it's hard to find that smell again. Unless you're down, you got to be. But because they do so much to these plants now. But I knew they would, and I learned what contact was later on, but I know I was like, that's probably why I fall asleep so good now when I lay down. Because I lay down, I'm like, nah, wait a minute.
Like I'm out. Yeah.
But it was definitely, I know, and he would have to speak more on it, but it was obviously a connector with them. Even to this day, with all my brother went through with military and certain things he deals with, and PTSD. He was a war guy, martial arts. He had pain from military and PTSD, and cannabis oil. Even when he came here, cannabis oil helped him tremendously.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what he does, the oil vape. So, but I don't know if there was a time in his life when he didn't do it.
Oh, you mean either he was using the flower or either
he was doing the flower, and now he does something different because he's a trainer and stuff now. And but he's still, he does the oil now. But there's not a time when he came here. I gotta talk about this. because he came here and said, "Man, take me where the dispensary is close to dispensary." Me, him, and my daughter's at the restaurant. I said, "The closest dispensary is 500 feet right across the mall from right across from the mall."
Mm-hmm.
You know, so we went over there and he said, "Yeah, I told him give me the most potent, the highest quality oil they had." I was like, "Okay." All I know people say is that California is a little different since it's been legal so long here.
Yeah,
but
he
was on it. He was like,
yeah,
"Yeah,
this is
the."
market. Mm-hmm.
So you have every level of what you do. I'm while I don't indulge, I'm not saying I never will because I'm 50 now. I might be somewhere and be like, you know what? Let me take it.
Get a little something.
But every time I've had it, like every time, it's funny. Edibles hallucinate. I don't ever have to do edibles again. Every time I'm hallucinating.
It may have been that you got something you didn't supposed to have. I don't know. Because what it does, what
crumbles of brownies,
mushrooms,
canna butter that I made muffins with. I used too much. I know I used too much canna butter. But hallucinating. But anytime I have a joint, it just relax. Like you said, it's the same thing with you. Some people, I guess people do different, but I haven't heard of anybody that did anything crazy off of marijuana. It's usually relaxation. Mm-hmm. And of course, now that we know it's legal, it's been legal for medicinal purposes for a while in certain areas, and now it's legal in a lot of the United States. Anything they can make taxable, and they know it's going to be a high move. The United States usually doesn't have a problem making it legal. So you BrunchNBlaze, you say, okay, BrunchNBlaze, we got the name. So you were just looking, okay, we'll have a brunch and we'll have some place where people can also spark up, do their thing.
Right.
And that was the initial thing.
Right. And even when I shared it with, remember, Lunel is a big jobber for me too.
Yes.
I said, would you ever like to
Shout out to Lunel.
Light up? Yeah, I gotta have it. So would you have a place to light up and smoke up and still do your comedy? She said, shit, yeah. Any day, any time. I said, I have to make this. I have to create this because this is what BrunchNBlaze is.
Now you're a heavy, because that's how I met you. You just comedy advocate. I saw you supporting Lunel and then Skills, and then you and I started talking, and you told me about you can't be a person to tell me what you want to do and me not say, okay, let's get it done. That's just who I am. So as we started going forth, I thought about that. I was like, how did you get you? So you always love comedy, but people love comedy, but you are a comedy fan. You go to the shows on a regular basis. How long have you been into comedy like that?
Oh, wow. Also, after COVID, so we went through the whole COVID spirit. Everybody said you're losing people. So the next thing was, I need this for self-care. So comedy is my fix. If I'm not going somewhere at a comedy zone, I'm looking at other locations where people pop up. They do these pop-ups all the time where you've got comedy just to try out. I don't mind that, just listening. People come to me all the time, hey, Shirlfriend, get up there. That's what you do. I'm like, nah, I'm good. I think it's a beautiful art. Maybe one day I'll crack that, but for now, I'm about my cannabis advocacy. You want to smoke up? That's what I give them. You smoke up, going to smoke up. I'm for that right now. Give them a little something. But the thing is, BrunchNBlaze was supposed to be where we did not just the advocacy, but let's entertain. I'm not teaching. I'm not there with a board, PowerPoint slide. Well, you've got two types of sexes, and I'm not explaining that. That's not where I live. Where I live is having some fun with it. Let's talk about pop culture. Let's talk about which places in the country are now able to smoke, but you can't buy it anywhere. In Virginia, it's legal, but you can't buy it. Yeah, they don't have any dispensaries, honey. It's just legal.
And I think DC has the dispensaries and it's legal.
Yeah.
So people from Virginia have to go into DC to get their weed?
Or they just grow it. They gave them a bill where they can grow it, which I don't mind that. But every now and then you want to try something a little different. Let's see if there's another a strain that may work differently for me.
You got me thinking about, do we have any land left in Virginia?
Hey, I'd make use of it, my brother. If you got something, go ahead and throw you something on it. That's money in the bank right there. So I'm feeling like, wow, we have all these spaces where someone needs to help it. Someone needs to say, okay, I get that the government has their own way with dealing with it, but we need to be able to manage it between us. So build a community where we have all these gaps for all the different places where the bill is this bill or the law says this. Have a community where you can tap into each other. Don't worry about that law, what you need. It's just about the community. So the other part of it is one day I can see this being a franchise. I can see my own strain. And it's all for helping other people. I could see that being, I don't know, maybe it's one of my dreams. Maybe that's where I'm thriving for.
Well, I like this. This is why we're working on the puff puff minus the pass. I said puff puff no pass, but puff puff minus the pass. I get it. But we're working on that podcast because you could easily, people would want to hear weekly what you got going on. But that's a dope one. The places to go, and yeah, people can find them. But if the BrunchNBlaze directory is a place where people can go around the world to find their herb community, that's something I had to tell you. Cameron, yeah, that's a website now. So that's key. So here's another thing. You mentioned a couple of things in here that led into some knowledge. We talked about sativa. What's the other kind?
Indica, and there's also a hybrid.
So indica is a hybrid?
There's also a hybrid. There's sativa, indica, and then there's a hybrid, meaning you get a combination of both.
Okay, so those are the two strands that exist, or we just know about here?
Those are the two strands that they've actually given a label to. At the end of the day, you have horticulturists or cultivars that actually create it. Right. That's you can have a person create your strain.
Right.
So it has a mixed use depending upon what your body takes. I may take a sativa and I'm like, woo! It just depends upon, no, seriously. Just like in medications, if some person could take an Ambien, don't knock out, it gives them the extra energy. That does happen for some people. Wow. So I actually tell people, one, I'm not an expert. I do not know. I'm always still learning. Part of what I'm doing in the CCI program is learning all of the various parts of
CCI. What's CCI?
It's Cannabis Institute. Cannabis CCI. It's like a certification program for people that not just advocate, but as trainers. Nice. And part of my training is doing events. Hence, the events that's coming up is also part of that. So it's also self-serving for me. It's like I'm giving, but there's something I'm getting from it because I'm doing it. I'm already putting it on. Do you feel me?
Since you mentioned that, let's talk about it a little bit. You have an event coming up, and I usually don't date these, but this is on April 19th, the day before 420, because 420 happens to fall on the Lord's Resurrection Day. And down south, Cheryl told me that the Bible Belt may come after you. I'm sure some pastor somewhere is like, praise the Lord, I got to go home and eat some food. And as soon as he gets home, he's like, come on, baby, let's get this popping. The Lord.
Smoke up.
The Lord maketh. No, sorry.
Yeah.
So 420 falls on a Sunday. And 419 is the Saturday, where most people are probably going to be getting to get down anyway.
Yeah, you can have some fun somewhere. 420 Eve. Yeah.
420 Eve. So 420 Eve you're going to be, is this in Charlotte or Raleigh?
Charlotte, North Carolina.
420 Eve in Charlotte, North Carolina, April 19th, Saturday, April 19th. What do you got coming up?
So we're actually hosting Lunel's first ever meet and greet, where she's doing the breakfast with Lunel. So it's a first for her, and it's a first for me too at Premez. It's a dispensary where they actually allow you to come in and smoke and actually get your self-care. It's the only one we've got in Charlotte, North Carolina. So I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah, it's a first for all of us around. Yeah, we're gonna have a good time. The thing is, I do my learning through games, and we love games. We like prizes. So you have games, prizes, infused food. You don't have to eat all of it. At the end of the day, they're putting it in the sauce. So people always come up, I don't want to get too jacked up. I don't want to get too high. Maybe I can't get my high to come down. No, calm yourselves. It's okay. She's putting it in the sauce. She's not infusing it in the food. It's not baked into.
So you can take the sauce at your own commodity, at your own will.
Right. That's right. And since you're grown folk, which I'm thinking you're grown, you know how much you should be taking. So I do have a disclosure for them to sign to make sure that there's no trouble. Because at the end of the day, you could get flour, you could get an edible, you could get infused drink, and infused gourmet food. That's 4 runs at it. I
And
don't know.
let me break this down for y'all also, because we're going to take this portion, and this is going to be for those that want to get down with the Get Down in Charlotte, North Carolina, Saturday, April 19th. Premez with BrunchNBlaze. I'm going to share this all over the place, but seating is very limited, and this will sell out. So if you're seeing this, you need to go follow at BrunchNBlaze on Instagram right now. DM them and get your ticket.
Mm-hmm.
Bottom line, because seating is extremely, but if they do it right, you well, I guess it's gonna be, that's another thing. It's hard to do 2 seatings if you're doing an event like this, because how they gonna lead? The first seating folks might not even lead it. I'm like, I'm full and I'm full.
I'm like, well, we enjoyed you coming, but you gotta go. And
you gotta go.
They stay. At the end of the day, I'm giving them an option. So if they stay the whole day, they just purchase a VIP pass that actually gives them the whole day.
Oh.
Yeah. But then specifically for 1 to 4.
Oh, so what time is the breakfast? Oh, so they have breakfast now. What time is that?
10 to 12.
And then 1 to 4 is the event.
Right.
Oh, so you do have.
Right.
You do have 2 events. Gotcha.
So they got an hour to figure out what they want to do, because there's a little break in between. And I'm so excited because we've got Chef Jillian. She's got gourmet infused food. She's actually, I don't know how to put her in words. In Charlotte, she is the it factor for food. She's been on all the news stations. She does all the events and stuff. So I'm even thankful for her. Like, well, thank you, Lord, for Jillian. Then we've got comedian Burpee. He's been on Wild and Out. He's been on MTV. It's not an MTV show. He's a funny dude. That's like, I've got him as the headliner. I'm thinking that I'm creating a show. I even have the person open up as a singer. Yo-Yo's a singer. What I'm trying to do is create the energy around advocating for cannabis, but have fun while you're doing it. It doesn't have to be like in a classroom setting, because I ask people all the time, what you smoking? I say real good. The good, yeah, real deal Holyfield. You don't know what you're smoking, do you?
You don't know what you're smoking. That's
what strain. You don't know what strain you're smoking. I actually don't have a favorite. I've never developed a favorite strand.
A favorite brand or strain?
A favorite strand. My whole thing is, as long as it keeps me mellow, because my energy is so high. Sometimes I don't know how to slow down because my mind is thinking. Like even right now, I'm thinking on, I gotta get some borders for the nails thing. I'm thinking on what I've got to do. It doesn't stop. I go to bed like, oh gosh, what else do I have to do? I wake up with, okay, it doesn't stop.
Now, do you get a good night's rest outside of cannabis?
I'm getting better because of the stick. Yeah, it actually helps give you what you need no matter what. If you're supposed to eat, if you're not hungry, it actually pushes you. It pushes you towards your needs.
That's very interesting you said that, because that's the truth that when I talk to people about, especially that may have a certain, like I say, my brother being a vet that has certain things he has to deal with, the person with pain, the person that has intimacy issues, the person that doesn't have proper appetite because they're going through some kind of medical, the cancer person that needs pain situation. What's so funny is I don't do herb, but my main doctor is Dr. Charlie Sy. Gave me something for my back the other day. But these are herbs. They are herb. They herb pills. They're not cannabis, but they, that's what I deal with. So, and mind you, if he comes to me and says, you know what you need? I'll be.
Yeah. Go ahead and you smoke this. You smoke it.
You smoke it and lay down.
Mm-hmm.
Give it 48 hours.
Yeah.
What happened to you? You said give it 48 hours. I didn't mean sleep 48 hours.
Just be up. You know what? I'm thankful that there is an opening though, because it's been like this for so many years here. But in North Carolina, it took me a long time to get the lottery. We are just, I don't know what it is in the South, honey. We are just slow to move on anything.
Here's the funny thing, and this is because Cigar Sips and Socials, I'm definitely going to tie in with the whole cannabis thing. But I just think about just the tobacco side, just like herbs and what they're starting to do more, whether you know it or not, because I know a friend that That's 50 acres, and I think he just bought another 200 acres down in North Carolina.
Okay.
But the main thing that's going to bring it through the South heavily is crops.
Yeah.
So that's where it's going, because like you said about Virginia, you know, and the government knows this, everybody knows this. So the reason it's so hard in the South is because the South is most of our fertile ground. Tobacco in the South, you know, of course.
Still do cotton too. Mm-hmm.
Huh?
We still do cotton too. You can see some cotton fields.
Yeah, but like George Washington Carver said, the problem with cotton is that you can't cross-pollinate anything with cotton, and it destroys the land. Mm-hmm. That's why he told them, I want y'all to plant soybeans, yams, and peanuts, because they put nutrients into the soil. Mm-hmm. and you have 3 crops. And then they was like, what are we gonna do with peanuts? And he came back with 300 things to do with peanuts. And but let alone the yams and the soy. He was the one that created soy plastic that Ford Motor Company still uses. So, but that's from that soil. So in my opinion, the South is, because the South has the soil, the South has the land, and the humidity. Southeast has that humidity. Mm-hmm. So
I know. I grew up here. This is the thing. I wish I still had my grandfather's property. He had over 300 acres, and the KKK put a noose on the tree. I remember this. I was like maybe 7 or 8. I was like, why is this happening? What's going on? He actually lost it because they underbid him. They underbid him so often he could not make any profit. He had to end up giving it up. I think the guy still owns that's a very, very bad situation. Our family should have come up and helped him. I was a kid. Had I known what I know now, it'd have been different. You know what I mean? Nobody, no uncles, no aunties. They just wiped their hand of it. They grew up in the farming, and they didn't understand or appreciate the value of the land that he was on. Somebody, some grown person, some elderly person should have gone and fought for what they need to fight for. So I was like, you know, now that I'm grown.
And it's so far, because our ancestors, sadly, you know, you're talking about your grandfather. That means his father might have been a slave.
Yeah, he was a slave.
See, and that means you're even raised differently. You know, just imagine us who were raised out of kids that went through civil rights. My parents were born in 46. So by 65, 66, you're talking about 19 and 20-year-olds that's seeing what's going on, that can't go into certain spaces, and that, you know, in Maryland, the Mason-Dixon line, northernmost southern state is Maryland. Mm-hmm. And so let alone Virginia, let alone, you know, down south, let alone, like you said, a lot of things are slower. Now, I'll ask you this, and then we'll give the information one more time where people can get in touch with you and make sure people are getting their tickets. Right. What do you think this is a serious way for Blacks, African Americans, people in general, to come up if they were to get into the cannabis business and to do something as far as growing? Or do you think it's an opportunity there for Blacks and African Americans to really shift some wealth?
Of course, I believe there's an opportunity for it. I just realized that there's a lot of boundaries that the government puts up in terms of licensing. Sometimes they place it too high for a cost. We may not have the funds to pay for this licensing, you know what I mean? But we have the capability and the ability to actually do it. It's like, I know how to do this. I've been doing it for years anyway. You just want to make it legal now.
You just want to legalize, right?
I got to pay you $125,000 for a license. You tell me only 3 people in the state going to have a license. So they control how many licenses are provisioned in every state. So it puts up a barrier. So there's a high cost for entry. It's not a place where it's going to be easy, but I believe it can be done. The place where we're doing creams, we're doing the event, they've got farmland in New Jersey. Of all places, yeah.
Jersey is a garden state.
Black owned.
It's called the Garden State, Jersey.
Yeah, it's Black owned. So there's some credits there in terms of opportunity. You just have to know how to go between the lines, if you will, and jump. You know what I mean? So there's always ways. You just have to figure out how to get in. So licensing will be a problem for us because they're trying to limit what we can do. That's the reason why I'm fighting. It's like trying to let people see. We have to speak to it. If no one's actually in the places where they're speaking to it, then we don't get any changes. It's always the same way. I will say this about North Carolina, though. They did it wisely by doing THCA legal. I may not prefer the THCA option as my self-care, but in terms of the legalization, they did it quietly. You know what I mean? It wasn't like it was announced. THCA is legal. It's almost like weed, go smoke. No one told the story, so just things just started popping up around you. You're like, hey, is this really weed? Or is this CBD?
This weed? Can I try it? If you pay for it.
What's in this? I want to know. Anyway, at the end of the day, those laws had to be in place first before we created a space like Premez, where it is an open social gathering where people can smoke. At the end of the day, when you have your friends over at your crib, y'all back there shooting the breeze and just talking, you all smoking, y'all are coming up with all kind of crazy stuff, and you're cracking the whole time. I can't figure out a better place to actually be than in the dispensary lounge where you with same people. Same thing.
And somebody might be smart enough to let me record this and write everybody cool with me recording this.
That's right.
Because all of a sudden you finish and you're like, oh shoot, I didn't press record. Everybody cool with me recording this?
Yeah. It's opportunity. It's opportunity. I see it because you're very creative during that period, and it's a whole lot of thinking of things. I have no idea why that's there. That must be later in one of my courseworks. I'll figure that out when I get to that lesson. But it taps into extreme creativity. I've had all kinds of stories and things in my head to do when I'm high. If I wrote all those things down, like you're saying, it would be a win situation.
The majority of powerful music that we know about, when you listen to people like who talk about, George Clinton and them, all the music they made with Parliament, he was like always high. Gap Man, all these creative geniuses when it came to music, and also now we're learning in literature and arts, and Mike Tyson, always high. Every time I thought I high, it was like, how do you do it? I just had somebody, had a fake dick and had penis and pee, and I'm just always high.
He came out with his
thing. He's profiting now. He's probably profiting now more on a regular basis through his cannabis businesses than he has in boxing his whole life, and no one can take it from him. He's doing properly. And, even coming out with he has the edible ear. It's shaped like an ear.
He's also got wrapping paper. So he doesn't just do weed. You're going to have things to go with your sticky icky, the bowls, the bongs, all these different things are going to be like a side stream for that industry. We need to get into something. If you don't get a weed license, then open up a store and sell the product.
Sell paraphernalia, stuff to sell with, wrapping.
That's another way, because people are going to need those too. But at the end of the day, I think it's going to be us fighting to be able to get to that table. That's all.
BrunchNBlaze, just letting y'all know, y'all see this, y'all lasted through this interview. BrunchNBlaze is looking for sponsors for their events. And as you know, as she said, she's not only an advocate, but an educator. She's the type of person you want to hire as a consultant on your team. She'll tell you her rate ain't cheap, but it's worth it. And you need that kind of person on your team too. All right, Cheryl, tell them one more time how to get in touch with you and give us some more buzz on the event.
Okay. So on IG, I'm Shirlfriend Girlfriend, spelled like it sounds, SHIRL girl, FRIEND. So look for me there on, also I'm on LinkedIn, Cheryl Richardson on LinkedIn. That's more the corporate side of me there, but I make all of it. So it's all the same. And then I've got www.brunchnblaze.com. That's www.brunchnblaze.com. The tickets are there. You can also get the tickets on Eventbrite. We can't wait. I've never been so excited about anything in all my life. Lunel is actually coming to do her meet and greet with me. Yay! I told her maybe 3-4 years ago. I said, I want you to do one of my brunches. I hadn't even started doing the brunches yet. It was just an idea. And now it has been in space. I'm going to have it fruition. It's going to be live. We have games, prizes. We have infused foods, infused drinks. I'm not watching what you're drinking or smoking. You grown, so you need to figure that on your own.
You're grown, so figure it on your own. That's gonna be the next Brunch and Blaze T-shirt. You're grown, figure it on your own.
Because we are not responsible. I'm sorry. And we close out with comedian Burpee, who has been Wild and Out, and actually is one of the biggest stars in the local area here in Charlotte. He's closing out for me. I am ecstatic. Thank you, guys. Look to see you there.
If I wasn't, I haven't been here in Los Angeles. If I wasn't, I'd be there. I don't know. I might even. I don't know when it's gonna happen. You're gonna see me one day. Like, Troy, you saw it? No, I smoke. I don't smoke. This is just for here and now.
Well, we're gonna get you here. It's coming. I think by the time we get you here, watch it be another location, though.
Well, we'll see. Well, you mean another one pop up by that time?
Another pop up.
I'm sure. It's from this interview alone. Watch how much response. I'm sure you'll get some response of us pushing this around and seeing what's what. But Shirlfriend, thank you so much for taking some time out. Finally got a chance to sit down and get your interview done. Make sure you follow @BrunchNBlaze on Instagram, and make sure you go to BrunchNBlaze.com. If you're in the Charlotte, North Carolina, because Charlotte is only 2 hours from Greenville, South Carolina.
Yeah, 3 hours from Atlanta. You thought you
3 hours from Atlanta?
Yeah.
So here y'all go. This is the spot to go. Make sure you follow Cheryl. Hit her up, Shirlfriend and Brunch and Blaze. And I'll talk to you soon. Thanks, Cheryl.
Oh, thank you.